Hey everyone, welcome back to the blog. Today is Thursday, and honestly, it is a beautiful day outside, but a completely dark and twisted day in the world of our favorite soap. Grab a huge cup of coffee because we have a massive, unbelievable mess to talk about today. And I just have to start by saying my jaw is still on the floor. I am literally shaking as I type this because I cannot believe what we just witnessed. We all knew things were getting tense in Los Angeles with the whole Forrester and Spencer corporate war. We knew Hope defecting to Logan was causing ripples. We knew Will was spiraling out of control after he accidentally punched Eric Forrester in the face at the bikini bar. But none of us, and I mean absolutely none of us, could have predicted the sheer level of psychotic violence that just went down at Logan Creations. The writers have completely lost their minds, but in the best, most terrifying way possible. So let us back up a little bit and set the stage for this absolute nightmare. For weeks now, we have been watching Melissa Dillon play this weird, hovering game. She was the sweet assistant, the supportive friend to Elektra, the girl who just happened to be there when Will Spencer hit rock bottom. We watched her sleep on his couch. We watched her brag to her co-worker Jessica about getting close to the Spencer heir. We all thought she was just a classic soap opera gold digger. You know the type. The girl who sees a rich, vulnerable guy with a broken heart and decides to swoop in to secure the bag. We thought she was just a social climber trying to lock down a Spencer. But oh boy, we were so wrong. We were so wrong. Because Wyatt Spencer, bless his heart, is the only person on this show who actually uses his brain. Wyatt did some digging and figured out that the mysterious Nancy alias Will was mixed up with was actually Melissa Dillon. And Wyatt, being a good brother and a smart guy, took that information straight to Katie Logan. Katie has been in full mama bear mode lately. She already knows Will is fragile. She knows he is drowning in guilt over the corporate secrets and the violence with RJ and Eric, and Katie is fiercely protective of her son. So when she found out that this Dillon girl was playing games and using fake names, Katie decided to handle it. And that brings us to the confrontation at the Logan Creations office. Katie called Dillon in, and the atmosphere was just thick with tension. You could feel it through the screen. Katie was standing there, looking like a total boss, ready to rip this girl a new one. She confronted Dillon about the Nancy identity. She laid it all out. She told Dillon she knew exactly what she was doing, trying to sink her claws into Will while he was down. Katie demanded that Dillon pack her bags, back off, and stay away from her son forever. It was classic Katie Logan fire. It was the kind of scene where you cheer for the protective mother putting the little schemer in her place. But then the craziest thing happened. Dillon did not cry. She did not play the victim. She did not try to deny it or make up some excuse about being confused. Instead, her entire face changed. The good girl facade just melted away, and this chilling, dead-eyed smile crept onto her face. It was honestly terrifying. Sydney Bullock deserves an Emmy for the way she shifted her energy in that split second. It was like watching a completely different person take over her body. So Dillon just looks at Katie and she admits it. She admits all of it. But it was so much worse than just being a gold digger. Dillon revealed her true colors, and she is a straight-up psychopath. She stood there in that chic fashion office and calmly confessed that she was the one pulling the strings the entire time. She actually orchestrated Will's violent outbursts. She manipulated the situations. She wanted Will isolated from his family. She wanted Elektra to dump him. She wanted him broken, alone, and hated by the Forresters so that she could be the only person he had left. She wanted to be his savior, his only lifeline. I cannot even process the level of madness here. We are talking about next level, Sheila Carter-style psychological manipulation. Dylan deliberately pushed Will to the brink of insanity just so she could catch him when he fell. And she was standing there telling Katie this like she was discussing the weather, like it was just a brilliant little chess move she made. Katie was horrified. You could see the realization washing over her face that she was not dealing with a greedy social climber. She was locked in a room with a dangerous, unhinged monster. Katie realized that her son was in the clutches of a literal psychopath. And Katie, being the smart woman she is, realized she needed to get help immediately. She backed away, her hands shaking, and she reached for her phone to call Bill. She told Dylan she was going to expose her, that Bill would destroy her, that Will would know the truth about what she is. And that is when the episode went from a dramatic soap confrontation to a full-blown horror movie. Dylan saw Katie reaching for the phone. She realized her entire sick, twisted master plan was about to be blown wide open, and she just snapped. Dylan grabbed a pair of heavy, sharp crafting scissors right off the design table. You know, the kind they use to cut thick fabrics in the fashion house, and she lunged at Katie. Honestly, you guys, I screamed at my television. Dylan attacked Katie with a frantic, frenzied energy. She stabbed Katie right in the abdomen. It was so fast and so brutal, there was no hesitation. Dylan just drove those scissors into Katie, and the shock on Katie's face will haunt me for weeks. Katie gasped, dropping her phone, and she just crumpled to the floor. The blood. There was so much blood, it was pooling on the pristine floor of the Logan Creations office. And let's be real here for a second. Katie Logan has a heart transplant. Her body is already fragile. She has been through so many medical traumas over the years. To see her lying there, bleeding out, clutching her stomach, and gasping for air. It was incredibly hard to watch. It was so visceral and so shocking. I know we have been complaining on social media lately about the spike in physical violence on this show. We have had Brooke slapping Katie, Will punching RJ, Ridge punching Bill, but this, a brutal stabbing with crafting scissors. What are the writers thinking? It is so dark. But I cannot deny that I was glued to the edge of my seat. But the most terrifying part of the entire scene was not even the stabbing itself. It was what Dylan did right after. Any normal person, even in a crime of passion, would panic. They would scream, they would run, they would drop the weapon. Not Melissa Dylan. Oh no. Dylan stood over Katie's bleeding body, completely calm. She did not even shed a tear. She just looked at Katie bleeding out on the floor and then went to work. Dylan systematically began staging the scene. She wiped her fingerprints off the scissors. She started knocking over mannequins, throwing papers around, pulling out drawers. She made the entire office look like a chaotic, violent robbery gone wrong. A botched burglary. She was so cold, so calculated, so methodical. She was setting up the perfect alibi while Katie was literally dying at her feet. And then she just walked out. She just left Katie there to bleed to death on the floor of her own company. I am still shivering just thinking about it. Who actually believes this is going to end well for anyone? So then the show cuts to the aftermath, and the pacing was just relentless. Katie is somehow found and rushed to the hospital. She is in critical condition, suffering from acute blood loss. The doctors are scrambling, the alarms are blaring. And of course, the news reaches the Spencer men. And this is where the emotional weight of the episode just crushed me. Bill Spencer arrives at the hospital, and he is not just upset, he is apocalyptic. Dollar Bill is fully back, and he is terrifying. Don Diamont played this scene to absolute perfection. You could see the raw, primal fear and rage in his eyes. The woman he loves, the mother of his child, is fighting for her life because of some random, senseless burglary. Bill is pacing the waiting room like a caged tiger. He is yelling at the doctors. He is demanding answers. And then he makes a vow. Bill Spencer looks dead into the camera, practically trembling with rage, and he vows to level the entire world to find the person who did this to Katie. He swears he will burn the city to the ground, that he will find the animal who stabbed her, and he will make them suffer in ways they cannot even imagine. And we all know Bill Spencer. When he makes a threat like that, he means it. He has blown up buildings. He has destroyed lives. Whoever crosses Bill Spencer usually ends up wishing they were dead. But here is the sick, twisted, agonizing irony of the entire hospital scene. Bill is making these massive threats, swearing vengeance on the invisible attacker. And right behind him, sitting in the uncomfortable plastic chairs of the waiting room, is Will. Will is completely broken. He is sobbing, his head in his hands, terrified that he is going to lose his mother. He is already in such a fragile mental state from losing Elektra and the guilt of the corporate war. This is the absolute breaking point for him. And who is sitting right next to him? Who has her arms wrapped around him, stroking his hair, playing the role of the devoted, supportive, loving girlfriend, Melissa Dillon. I wanted to throw my remote at the TV. Dillon is sitting there, wearing this mask of deep concern and fake tears. She is hugging the boy whose mother she just brutally stabbed. She is comforting Will while the blood of his mother is probably still under her fingernails. It is so sick. It is so deeply, profoundly twisted. And Bill has absolutely no idea. Bill is standing 10 feet away from the monster who tried to murder his soulmate. He is vowing to destroy the attacker, completely blind to the fact that the venomous snake is sitting right there in his own family circle, pretending to be the victim's biggest supporter. Dillon is just looking at Bill, looking at Will, and playing her part perfectly. She thinks she has won. She thinks she has successfully eliminated the only person who figured her out, and now she has Will completely dependent on her for emotional support. I have to ask, what is going to happen when Katie wakes up? Because she has to wake up, right? They cannot kill off Katie Logan. The fans would actually riot. Heather Tom is a daytime legend. But with her heart condition and the massive blood loss, it is going to be touch and go for a while. And you know Dillon is going to be hovering around that ICU room, probably trying to figure out a way to pull the plug if Katie starts to regain consciousness. Dillon cannot afford for Katie to speak. And what about Wyatt? Wyatt knows about the Nancy alias. Wyatt knows Katie was going to confront Dillon. Is Wyatt going to put two and two together? Wyatt is smart, but Dillon is clearly a master manipulator. She staged that robbery perfectly. Will the police buy it? Will Chief Baker actually do his job for once? Or is he just going to accept the burglary theory and eat a hot dog? I am just so overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of this storyline. We thought the biggest drama this month was Hope launching her line at Logan and the Forrester family being mad about it. We thought it was just going to be corporate espionage and fashion shows. But no, the writers gave us a full-blown psychological thriller. They gave us a new villain who might actually rival Sheila Carter in terms of pure, unadulterated madness. Sheila shoots people in alleyways, sure, but Dillon orchestrates your mental breakdown, stabs your mother in the gut with scissors, and then hugs you while you cry in the hospital. That is a different brand of evil. Maybe I am being too dramatic. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. We have been watching this show for years, and it takes a lot to genuinely shock us. But this was a masterclass in soapy suspense. The way they built Dillon up as this annoying, clingy social climber and then flipped the switch to reveal a calculating psychopath was brilliant. But I am so scared for Will. Will is completely oblivious. He thinks Dillon is his rock right now. He thinks she is the only good thing in his life after Elektra dumped him and Eric banished him. He is falling right into her trap. And when Bill finally finds out the truth, oh my God. When Bill realizes that the girl comforting his son is the one who tried to murder Katie, there will be nowhere on earth for Dylan to hide. Bill will not just call the police, Bill will handle it himself. I am going to need a few days to recover from this episode. The image of Katie on the floor, the coldness in Dylan's eyes, the sheer rage radiating from Bill, it is all just too much. I need to know what you guys think. Did anyone see this coming? Did anyone suspect Dylan was actually this crazy? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I need to talk about this with people who understand. I will be tracking every single spoiler and leak for next week because I cannot wait to see how this hospital drama unfolds. Will Dylan try to finish the job? Will Katie survive? We just have to wait and see. Stay tuned, everyone, because Los Angeles is about to explode.